Ryan stared out of the viewport of the small shuttle, feeling the weight of the silence around him. Beyond the thick glass, the planet Xylaria stretched endlessly, a world bathed in shades of green and violet, with rivers that seemed to float above the ground and enormous trees that glimmered like glass. He had never seen anything like it. Humans had sent probes to Xylaria before, but Ryan had never imagined that one day he would step foot on this strange and beautiful world. His father, Jonathan, had remarried a Xylarian diplomat named Serena. Ryan had never met her daughter, Lyra, in person. Their communication had been limited to holocalls, which Ryan found awkward. Lyra had always seemed distant, polite but reserved, her glowing violet eyes full of curiosity and judgment. Now, as they descended to the planet's surface, Ryan felt a mix of excitement and unease. He had heard rumors about Xylarians, about their intelligence, their unique customs, and their alien biology, but nothing prepared him for meeting one in person. The shuttle shuddered as it passed through the upper atmosphere. Ryan gripped the seat as the floor vibrated under his feet. Beside him, Lyra sat quietly, her long, iridescent hair reflecting the dim lights of the cabin. She seemed calm, but Ryan could sense the tension in her posture. Unlike humans, she didn't fidget or shift nervously. Instead, she maintained a poised stillness, her limbs moving with deliberate precision. "Almost there," Jonathan said, his voice calm over the intercom. "The habitat module is secure. You'll be safe once we land." Ryan nodded, though he wasn't entirely reassured. Safety was relative on a planet no human had ever fully explored. The shuttle's landing gear extended, and the vehicle bounced lightly on the soft, glowing ground. Outside, bioluminescent flora cast a surreal light, and strange creatures with translucent wings darted through the air. The scene was breathtaking, but Ryan could feel the tension in his chest. As the shuttle doors opened, a cool breeze swept in, carrying the scent of alien pollen. Lyra stepped out first, her feet making no sound on the ground. Ryan followed, noticing how her skin seemed to shimmer slightly under the light. Xylarian biology was remarkable. Their bodies adapted to the environment in ways humans could barely understand. Ryan felt a pang of both awe and nervousness. He was sharing this world with someone who could survive almost anything the planet threw at her. Jonathan motioned them forward toward the habitat module, a sleek structure made of metallic alloys and transparent walls. The module was surrounded by thick forest with vines that pulsed softly and trees that towered high into the sky. Inside, the habitat was surprisingly cozy, furnished with a mix of human and Xylarian technology. Holographic panels lit the room with soft blue light, and a small artificial river ran along one side, creating a soothing sound. Ryan hesitated at the doorway, glancing at Lyra. "This is amazing," he said quietly. Lyra nodded, her expression unreadable. "It is home," she said simply. Her voice was melodic, almost musical. Ryan noticed that every word seemed to carry a slight vibration, as if her vocal cords resonated with the planet itself. Jonathan clapped his hands together. "Well, I think it's time to settle in. There's a lot to explore, but first, you two need to get accustomed to the environment. The planet can affect humans in unexpected ways." Ryan nodded again, though he wasn't sure what that meant. He had read the manuals and studied the environmental simulations, but Xylaria was more alive than anything he had imagined. As he followed Lyra down the corridor, he felt the subtle pull of the planet beneath his feet, as if it was aware of their presence. Lyra stopped suddenly and placed her hand on the wall. Her skin glowed slightly as she seemed to sense something. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" he asked. "There is a disturbance," Lyra said, her eyes narrowing. She moved with surprising speed, scanning the corridor ahead. "The storm is closer than predicted." Ryan frowned. "Storm?" Lyra nodded. "Xylaria has sudden weather shifts. This one is strong. We may be trapped inside the module for a while." Jonathan's voice came over the intercom. "I'll secure the module from the outside. Ryan, stay close to Lyra. She knows the protocols better than anyone." Ryan swallowed hard. He wasn't used to being told what to do by someone younger than him, but Lyra exuded authority. He followed her to a small observation deck overlooking the planet's forest. Outside, the sky was turning a deep shade of violet, streaked with lightning that arched across the floating rivers. The storm was beautiful but menacing. Lyra walked to the center of the deck and closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. Ryan watched her curiously. He could see subtle changes in her posture. Her shoulders tensed and her tail-like appendage twitched slightly. It was as if the storm affected her on a deep instinctual level. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked quietly. "Listening," Lyra replied. "The storm interacts with the planet's life force. I can feel it. It is stirring something inside me." Ryan felt a chill. He didn't fully understand what she meant, but he knew from the holocalls that Xylarians had biological cycles unlike humans. He had never thought he would experience it firsthand, trapped in the module with Lyra. Hours passed. The storm raged outside, shaking the habitat module with powerful winds and flashes of lightning. Ryan and Lyra stayed near the observation deck, talking quietly about their lives. Ryan shared stories of Earth, of schools and friends he had left behind, while Lyra spoke of Xylarian history, their cities, and the strange rituals of her species. Despite the tension, Ryan began to feel a connection to her, not just as a step-sibling but as someone he could trust in this strange world. As night fell, the storm reached its peak. Lyra's movements became more restless. She paced the deck, her hands brushing against the walls and windows as if she could absorb energy from them. Ryan felt a growing sense of responsibility. He realized that she was not just restless because of the storm, but because her biology was reacting to the environment. "Lyra," he said gently, "do you want to sit down?" She shook her head. "No, I must adapt. Humans do not understand this, but it is important. If I do not balance myself, I may lose control of my instincts." Ryan nodded, trying to hide his unease. He didn't fully understand her instincts, but he respected them. "Okay, I'll stay with you," he said. She glanced at him, her violet eyes softening slightly. "Thank you, Ryan. Your presence. It helps." The rest of the night was long. Ryan learned to observe Lyra's behavior, noting how she responded to the storm's energy. He realized that survival on Xylaria was not just about navigating the environment, it was also about understanding its inhabitants. By morning, the storm had subsided, leaving the planet bathed in a soft golden light. The floating rivers shimmered like glass and the forest seemed alive with new energy. Lyra finally sat down, her breathing steady. "It is over," she said. "For now?" Ryan smiled weakly. "Yeah, we survived." She looked at him, her expression unreadable for a moment, then softened. "You will do well here, Ryan. If you learn to respect the planet and its rhythms, you will understand more than most humans ever could." Ryan felt a swell of pride. He had come to Xylaria uncertain and uneasy, but now he realized that he could not only survive here, he could thrive. And perhaps he could help Lyra navigate her instincts and understand the world as a human. For the first time, Ryan felt a real bond with his stepsister. It was not yet friendship, not yet family, but it was a beginning. And on Xylaria, beginnings were everything. The sun rose higher, casting its golden light over the alien forest. Ryan and Lyra prepared to explore the planet step by cautious step. They knew that Xylaria held both beauty and danger, but they also knew that together they could face whatever came. Ryan looked at Lyra one last time before stepping toward the module's exit. She met his gaze and gave a small nod. It was a silent promise of trust, of respect, and perhaps of understanding. And as they walked into the glowing forest, Ryan realized that Xylaria was not just a strange planet. It was a world full of lessons, full of life, and full of possibilities. He didn't know what challenges awaited him, but he knew one thing for certain. He would face them side by side with Lyra. The morning air on Xylaria was thick with the scent of glowing flowers. Ryan and Lyra stepped cautiously through the alien forest, their boots sinking slightly into the soft, bioluminescent moss. Each step released tiny motes of light that floated in the air like fireflies. Ryan had never seen anything so magical, but he knew he had to stay focused. Xylaria was beautiful, but it was also unpredictable. Lyra moved ahead with confidence, her senses alert to everything around her. Ryan noticed that her skin shimmered faintly in response to the sunlight filtering through the floating rivers above. "Your body. It changes with the environment," he said, curiosity lacing his voice. Lyra glanced back at him, her violet eyes softening. "Yes, Xylarians have a strong connection with the planet. We can sense shifts in energy, temperature, and even the life around us. It helps us survive." Ryan nodded, trying to process the information. "So when the storm happened, that was why you were restless?" Lyra inclined her head. "Exactly. Storms stir the energy in the planet and in us. During my bonding season, it affects me even more. Humans do not have this instinct, so it may seem strange or frightening. Ryan swallowed. He remembered how restless she had been in the module, pacing and bracing herself against the walls. He realized that he had to be careful. Her instincts were part of her biology, not her choice. "I'll stay careful," he said. "I don't want to make things worse." Lyra gave a small nod of approval. "That is wise. Humans often misunderstand instincts, but understanding them is key." As they walked deeper into the forest, Ryan tried to take in everything. The trees were massive, their trunks smooth and translucent. Strange vines hung from branches, pulsing like veins, and the air hummed with energy. Ryan reached out to touch one of the vines, and it responded immediately, curling slightly around his fingers before retracting. "It's like the plants are alive and aware," he whispered. "They are," Lyra said. "Every part of this planet is connected. Even the smallest creature can influence the energy around it. That is why Xylarians respect every form of life." They came to a small clearing where the sunlight fell directly onto a crystalline pond. Lyra knelt beside it and touched the surface. The water rippled, reflecting colors Ryan had never seen before. "This is a bonding pond," Lyra explained. "Xylarians use it during our bonding season to calm ourselves. It helps balance our instincts with thought." Ryan crouched beside her, watching the water shimmer. "So, it helps you not lose control?" he asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, it is important. If we do not balance ourselves, our instincts can overwhelm our judgment. That is dangerous, especially near humans or other species who do not understand us." Ryan felt a new sense of responsibility. He realized that being trapped with Lyra during her bonding season was not just about surviving the storm. It was about helping her stay safe, while also understanding her species. "I want to help," he said. "Tell me what I can do." Lyra looked at him, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. "You are willing to respect my instincts?" "Humans rarely do. Most react with fear or avoidance. You listen and observe." "That is rare," Ryan smiled. "I'm learning. That's all I can do for now." They spent the next few hours near the pond. Ryan watched as Lyra performed her calming rituals. She moved slowly, touching the water with precise gestures, humming softly in her melodic voice. Ryan noticed that her breathing became steady, and the faint shimmer of her skin settled into a calm glow. He realized that the rituals were not just physical. They were deeply connected to her mind and emotions. Afterward, Lyra stood and motioned for Ryan to follow. "Come, there is more you need to see. Understanding Xylarians is not only about observing us, it is about experiencing the planet and its energy." They continued through the forest, encountering strange creatures along the way. One small animal, no larger than a rabbit, had wings that resembled delicate glass. It hovered in the air, examining them with glowing eyes before darting away. Ryan laughed quietly. "It's beautiful. It's like nothing on Earth." Lyra smiled faintly. "It is. Every creature here has a role. They maintain the balance of life. Humans rarely see it because Earth's ecosystems are simpler." As the day progressed, Ryan noticed subtle changes in Lyra. Her movements became sharper, her senses more acute. He remembered her earlier explanation about the bonding season. It was clear that her instincts were rising, influencing her reactions to the environment. Ryan had to be careful, observing her behavior and responding with patience. At one point, a gust of wind swept through the clearing and Ryan stumbled slightly. Lyra's hand shot out instinctively, steadying him. "Be careful," she said. Her voice carried both concern and a sense of heightened alertness. Ryan realized that even as her instincts strengthened, she was capable of restraint. That was remarkable. They reached a large grove where the trees arched overhead, forming a natural dome. The light filtered through in shifting patterns, and the air was filled with a soft hum. "This is a place of focus," Lyra explained. "Xylarians come here to meditate and to balance our instincts with our logic. You may sit if you wish." Ryan sat on the soft moss, feeling the energy of the grove. It was calming, almost like the planet was embracing him. "I think I understand now," he said quietly. "The planet, your instincts, it's all connected." Lyra sat beside him, her posture relaxed but alert. "Yes. Humans often think of life as separate from the environment. Here, everything is intertwined. To survive, to thrive, one must understand the connections." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the sounds of the forest. Ryan noticed how Lyra's presence seemed to amplify his own awareness. He could hear the subtle rustle of leaves, the faint glow of creatures moving in the distance, and even the soft hum of energy beneath the ground. It was overwhelming at first, but gradually he felt attuned. "Ryan," Lyra said finally, breaking the silence. "You are learning faster than most humans. That is good. But there is more you must know." He looked at her, intrigued. "What is that?" "The bonding season is not only about instinct. It is also about connection, social, emotional, and biological. Xylarians must learn to balance these connections responsibly. You are witnessing the early stages, but it will become more intense. You must remain patient and respectful." Ryan nodded seriously. "I will, I promise." Lyra's eyes softened. "I trust you. That is rare." They spent the remainder of the day exploring the grove and surrounding forest. Ryan observed how Lyra interacted with the environment, touching plants to sense their energy, listening intently to the hum of the air, and occasionally pausing to perform subtle rituals that seemed to balance her instincts. Ryan realized that the bonding season was a challenge, but also a demonstration of the Xylarians' intelligence, adaptability, and respect for life. As evening approached, they returned to the habitat module. The sky above the floating rivers turned a deep shade of violet, streaked with golden light. Ryan and Lyra entered the module quietly. Jonathan was waiting, monitoring the environmental systems. "How was the day?" he asked. Ryan smiled. "Amazing. I learned so much about Lyra and the planet. It's incredible." Jonathan glanced at Lyra. "And you?" Lyra's posture remained composed, but there was a subtle glow in her skin. "I am balanced. The day was useful." Ryan observed and respected my instincts. That is important. Ryan felt a sense of pride. He had navigated the challenges of the day, respecting Lyra's unique biology while learning about her world. He realized that survival on Xylaria was about more than physical strength. It was about understanding, empathy, and intelligence. As night fell, the habitat module hummed softly with energy. Ryan prepared for rest, but he knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges. The storm had passed, but the planet was unpredictable. He also knew that Lyra's bonding season was only beginning, and he would need to remain patient and attentive. Before drifting to sleep, Ryan looked at Lyra. She was meditating near the observation deck, her skin glowing faintly in the soft light. He realized that being trapped with her was not a burden. It was an opportunity to learn, to understand, and to grow. And as he closed his eyes, Ryan made a silent promise. He would respect Lyra, the planet, and the incredible life of Xylaria. He would survive here, not just as a human, but as someone who could understand and honor the extraordinary world around him. The next morning, Xylaria's sun rose slowly over the glowing forests, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Ryan stretched, feeling the softness of the moss beneath him. Sleep had been restless, partly because he was still adjusting to the planet's subtle energy vibrations. Beside him, Lyra moved gracefully, her skin shimmering faintly in response to the morning light. She seemed calm now, but Ryan knew her bonding season was beginning to peak. Jonathan had already begun monitoring the planet from the module's observation deck. "There's an unexpected energy surge in the northern forests," he reported. "It could affect the wildlife or even the structural integrity of the terrain. Be careful if you explore." Ryan glanced at Lyra. "We can handle it together, right?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, but caution is essential. The forest reacts quickly to disturbances. One wrong move and it can be dangerous." They stepped outside, moving cautiously through the forest. The moss glowed beneath their feet and the air vibrated softly. Strange insects with translucent wings hovered around them, making soft humming noises that blended with the hum of the planet itself. Ryan could feel his senses sharpening. The energy of Xylaria was unlike anything on Earth. It was alive, intelligent, and reactive. As they approached the northern section of the forest, the ground beneath them began to tremble slightly. Ryan instinctively took a step back. "Is that normal?" he asked, his voice tight. Lyra bent down, placing her hand on the ground. Her fingers glowed faintly as she seemed to sense the energy flow. "Not entirely," she said. "Something is causing the forest to destabilize. We need to move carefully." Ryan followed her lead, stepping lightly over roots and glowing vines. Suddenly, a section of the forest floor cracked, revealing a hidden chasm. Ryan froze, his heart racing. Lyra moved swiftly, grabbing his arm and pulling him back. "Watch your step," she warned. The chasm stretched for several meters, and from its depths, Ryan could see faint glimmers of energy rising like smoke. "What is that?" he asked. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "It is the planet's life force reacting. The energy surge has disturbed the balance here. If it spreads, it could trigger more instability." Ryan swallowed hard. He realized that surviving on Xylaria required more than courage. It required observation, quick thinking, and respect for the planet's unique systems. "How do we fix it?" he asked. Lyra studied the area carefully. "We need to stabilize the energy. Some plants here absorb excess energy. If we harvest them carefully and place them along the chasm, it will help calm the disturbance." Ryan nodded. "Lead the way." They moved deeper into the forest, searching for the plants Lyra had described. Along the way, Ryan observed her instincts at work. She could sense energy shifts before they happened, adjusting her movements and decisions instantly. Ryan tried to mirror her observations, learning to read the subtle cues of the environment. Finally, they found a cluster of bioluminescent plants with thick, glowing roots. Lyra touched one gently, and it responded, pulsing softly in her hands. "These will help," she said. "But they are fragile. Treat them with care." Ryan carefully lifted one, feeling the warmth of its energy. "I've got it," he said. "Don't worry." Together they carried the plants back to the chasm. Ryan marveled at how Lyra moved effortlessly, balancing her instincts with precision. He realized that her bonding season enhanced her awareness and abilities, making her both powerful and graceful. They placed the plants along the edge of the chasm, following Lyra's instructions. As the final plant settled into place, the energy rising from the depths began to stabilize. The tremors slowed, and the faint glimmers of light began to fade. Ryan exhaled, relieved. "We did it," Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, but this is only a temporary fix. The energy surge may return. We must remain vigilant," Ryan nodded. "I understand. I'll stay alert." They spent the rest of the day monitoring the area, moving carefully through the forest and observing any changes in the environment. Ryan realized that Xylaria was not just a planet. It was a living entity, responsive and intelligent. Survival required respect, observation, and cooperation. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with deep reds and purples, they returned to the habitat module. Jonathan was waiting, his expression serious. "I monitored the northern forest while you were out. The energy has stabilized for now." "Good work." Ryan smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "It was a team effort," Lyra nodded. "And you adapted well. You learned to observe, to anticipate, and to act without causing further disturbance. That is commendable." Ryan felt a warm pride. He realized that his human traits, curiosity, intelligence, and patience, had complemented Lyra's instincts perfectly. Together, they had faced a challenge that neither could have managed alone. That night, Ryan and Lyra stayed near the observation deck, watching the stars above Xylaria. The floating rivers shimmered and the forest below glowed softly. Ryan reflected on the day's events. He had seen Lyra's strength, intelligence, and instincts in action, and he had also realized the importance of patience and understanding. "Ryan," Lyra said softly, breaking the silence, "you are learning not only about Xylaria but about what it means to respect life. Humans often overlook the balance of nature, but here, you are beginning to understand." Ryan looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. "I want to understand. I want to do more than survive here. I want to learn from you and the planet." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "That is good. Curiosity, respect, and intelligence, these are qualities that allow humans to thrive. Even on worlds as alien as this one." Ryan felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had come to Xylaria uncertain and cautious, but now he knew he could face its challenges. He could learn from Lyra, adapt to the environment, and use his human traits to navigate the dangers and mysteries of the planet. As the night deepened, a subtle change in the atmosphere caught Ryan's attention. A soft vibration ran through the module, faint but noticeable. Lyra's eyes narrowed and she placed a hand on the floor. "The energy is shifting again," she said. "It is subtle, but it could indicate another disturbance." Ryan stood alert. "Should we check it out?" Lyra shook her head. "Not yet. It is too early. But we must be ready. Xylaria does not reveal its challenges all at once. Survival requires awareness, preparation, and cooperation." Ryan nodded, feeling both excitement and apprehension. He realized that each day on Xylaria would test him, not only physically but mentally and emotionally. The planet was alive, and so were its inhabitants. Understanding both would be essential for survival. He glanced at Lyra. She was calm, poised, and alert, a perfect balance of instincts and control. Ryan felt a deep respect for her abilities. He knew that being trapped with her during her bonding season was not a burden. It was an opportunity. An opportunity to learn, to grow, and to understand a world far beyond human experience. As he prepared for sleep, Ryan made a silent promise to himself. He would continue to observe, learn, and respect Xylaria and its inhabitants. He would stay close to Lyra, supporting her as she navigated her instincts, and he would use his intelligence and courage to face any challenge the planet presented. Tomorrow would bring new dangers, new discoveries, and new lessons. But Ryan felt ready. Together, he and Lyra could survive and even thrive on this incredible alien world. And as he closed his eyes, the soft glow of Xylaria's forest outside the module bathed him in a sense of calm. The planet was alive, the challenges were real, and the lessons were endless. Ryan had stepped into a world that would test him in every way, but he knew one thing for certain. He would not face it alone. Lyra's presence, her instincts, and her trust were his guide. And with them, Ryan knew he could navigate the wonders and dangers of Xylaria, one careful step at a time. The morning light on Xylaria filtered through the floating rivers, casting patterns of gold and violet on the forest floor. Ryan stretched as he stepped out of the habitat module. Today, he sensed, would be different. The energy of the planet felt stronger, almost alive, pulsing beneath his feet. Beside him, Lyra moved with her usual grace, her skin glowing faintly, a reflection of the rising intensity of her bonding season. Jonathan had been monitoring the planet from the module and called them over. "There's a shift in the southern forests," he said. "Energy readings indicate more instability. It could be dangerous, but also an opportunity to observe the planet's life force up close." Ryan glanced at Lyra. "We can do this together?" Lyra's violet eyes softened slightly. "Yes, but caution is vital. The bonding season makes my instincts stronger. I must remain balanced. You must observe and act carefully." They walked through the forest, the soft moss glowing beneath their boots. Strange creatures moved among the trees. Some camouflaged perfectly with the glowing flora, others hovering above in soft hums. Ryan noticed that the energy around them felt different here, more intense. Lyra's movements were sharp, calculated, and instinctive. She stopped suddenly, sensing something he could not. "Do you feel it?" Ryan asked, curiosity mixed with caution. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "The southern forest is reacting to a buildup of energy. It will affect the environment and the creatures. We must stabilize it before it escalates." Ryan nodded, feeling a thrill of both fear and excitement. He had learned from the previous challenges that Xylaria tested both intelligence and observation. It required humans to think carefully, and Lyra's instincts were an essential guide. As they moved deeper into the forest, Ryan noticed subtle signs of the energy surge. Leaves pulsed faintly, small vines twitched, and the soft hum of the air became almost musical. "It's like the planet is alive," he whispered. Lyra glanced at him, a faint smile on her face. "It is alive. Every creature, every plant, every particle of this world is connected. Humans rarely see this, but you are learning." Suddenly, a deep tremor ran through the ground. Ryan stumbled slightly, and Lyra steadied him instantly. "Stay alert," she said, her voice calm but intense. "The forest responds quickly to disturbances. We must move carefully." They reached a clearing where the energy was strongest. Small crystalline formations jutted out of the moss, glowing with internal light. The air vibrated and the ground pulsed faintly beneath their feet. Ryan could feel the energy tugging at him, a strange sensation that made his skin tingle. Lyra placed her hands on the ground and closed her eyes. Her glow intensified as she connected with the energy around her. Ryan watched, fascinated. "What are you doing?" he asked, balancing. Lyra replied, "I must align my instincts with the planet's energy. If I fail, the disturbance could worsen. It is important during bonding season to maintain this control." Ryan nodded, determined to help. He observed the crystals, the moss, and the patterns of light, trying to understand the balance Lyra maintained instinctively. He noticed that the energy seemed to react to their presence, shifting subtly with each movement. "Ryan," Lyra said, her voice calm but commanding, "we need to place stabilizing crystals around the clearing. They will absorb excess energy and help the forest regain balance. Ryan followed her instructions, careful with each movement. The crystals were fragile and pulsed with internal light. Placing them required precision and patience. Lyra guided him with subtle gestures, her instincts sharp and clear. As they finished placing the crystals, the ground trembled again, but less violently. The air hum softened, and the forest seemed to settle slightly. Ryan exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and pride. "We did it," he said quietly. Lyra nodded, her skin dimming to a gentle glow. "For now, the bonding season will continue to intensify. We must remain vigilant. Your presence helps me remain calm, Ryan. That is rare for a human." Ryan felt a warmth in his chest. He realized that being trapped with Lyra during this period was a challenge, but also an opportunity to learn. He had never encountered anyone like her, and yet her trust in him was growing. They spent the rest of the day moving through the forest, observing how Lyra interacted with the environment. Ryan noticed how her instincts guided her. She could sense the subtle shifts in energy, predict the movements of creatures, and even adjust the flow of water in small streams. Her bonding season made her stronger, more aware, and more attuned to the planet than he had ever imagined. At one point, a small group of glowing creatures approached them, their translucent bodies vibrating in response to Lyra's presence. She knelt and touched the ground gently, emitting a soft hum that calmed the creatures. Ryan watched in awe. He realized that Lyra's abilities were not just instinctual. They were deeply connected to the life force of Xylaria itself. "You can calm them?" Ryan asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes. During bonding season, our instincts are heightened. We can influence the energy of other life forms, but only if we remain balanced. If I acted without control, I could provoke them instead." Ryan understood the responsibility she carried. Her abilities were powerful, but they required wisdom and restraint. He felt both admiration and respect for her. As the day drew to a close, they returned to the habitat module. The forest outside glowed with the soft light of bioluminescent flora, and the floating rivers reflected the sunset in brilliant colors. Jonathan was waiting, monitoring the energy readings from the northern and southern forests. "How did it go?" he asked. Ryan smiled. "We stabilized the southern clearing. Lyra guided me through it. It was amazing." Jonathan glanced at Lyra. "And you?" Lyra's posture was calm, but her eyes shimmered with residual energy. "The energy is balanced for now." Ryan observed and followed instructions well. That is important during this season. Many humans would struggle to adapt. Ryan felt a surge of pride. He had not only survived the challenge, but had also learned from it, understanding the importance of observation, patience, and respect. He realized that humanity's intelligence, empathy, and adaptability were powerful tools, even on a world as alien as Xylaria. That night, Ryan and Lyra stayed near the observation deck, watching the stars above. The floating rivers glimmered and the forest below pulsed gently with energy. Ryan reflected on the events of the day. He had seen Lyra's strength and instincts at their peak, and he had also realized the significance of patience and understanding. "Ryan," Lyra said softly, breaking the silence, "bonding season is a test not only for Xylarians but for those who live alongside us. You are learning to respect instincts, to observe carefully, and to act responsibly. That is rare and admirable." Ryan looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. "I want to learn. I want to help, to understand, and to be ready for whatever the planet throws at us." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "Then you are beginning to understand what it means to survive here. Intelligence, empathy, and courage. These are qualities that allow humans to thrive even in worlds as alien as Xylaria." Ryan felt a deep sense of purpose. Being trapped with Lyra during her bonding season was no longer a challenge he feared. It was an opportunity. An opportunity to grow, to learn, and to contribute to a world far beyond human experience. As the night deepened, Ryan sensed subtle vibrations in the module, faint but noticeable. Lyra's eyes narrowed and she placed her hand on the floor. "The energy will continue to shift," she said. "Tomorrow may bring new disturbances. We must remain alert and prepared." Ryan nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He realized that life on Xylaria was not static. It demanded observation, intelligence, and cooperation. Every day would present challenges, but also lessons. Before sleep, Ryan looked at Lyra. She was meditating near the observation deck, her skin glowing faintly in the soft light. He realized that her instincts, her strength, and her trust were invaluable. Being trapped with her was not a burden. It was a chance to learn and grow together. And as he closed his eyes, Ryan made a silent promise. He would respect Lyra, the planet, and the incredible life around them. He would remain vigilant, patient, and understanding, facing each challenge with courage and intelligence. Sileria was alive, vibrant, and unpredictable. The bonding season intensified, but Ryan felt ready. Together, he and Lyra could navigate the wonders and dangers of the planet, learning from each other, respecting each other, and growing stronger with every step. Tomorrow would bring new tests, new discoveries, and new lessons. But Ryan knew one thing for certain. He would face them side by side with Lyra, using his human intelligence and empathy to complement her instincts and strength. The morning light of Sileria filtered through the floating rivers, casting golden and violet reflections across the moss-covered forest. Ryan stretched and took a deep breath. Today felt different. The air was charged yet calm, as if the planet itself was aware of the events to come. Beside him, Lyra moved gracefully, her violet eyes alert and her skin shimmering faintly, a sign that her bonding season was reaching its peak. Jonathan's voice echoed from the habitat module. Energy readings are stable for now, but the southern forest shows signs of another shift. It is weaker than before, but it may still be significant. You should remain cautious. Ryan glanced at Lyra. We've faced bigger challenges before. We can handle this. Lyra's expression softened. Yes, but caution and patience are more important now than ever. The bonding season intensifies our instincts. Any misstep could affect the environment and creatures around us. They left the habitat module and walked through the glowing forest. Ryan could feel the subtle hum of Sileria beneath his feet. It was alive, vibrant, and unpredictable. He had grown accustomed to its rhythm, and he knew that patience, observation, and cooperation were essential to survival. As they approached the southern forest, the energy was immediately noticeable. The moss beneath their feet pulsed softly, the trees shimmered, and the air vibrated faintly. Ryan felt a tingle in his skin, an instinctive alert that danger or opportunity was near. Lyra paused and placed her hand on the ground. Her glow intensified as she connected with the energy around her. This is stronger than before, she said. The planet is testing us again. We must act carefully and balance our instincts with thought. Ryan nodded. He had learned over the past days that Lyra's instincts were extraordinary, but they required guidance and patience. His human intelligence, empathy, and observation skills had become crucial complements to her natural abilities. They moved deeper into the forest, carrying small, stabilizing crystals. Ryan noticed how Lyra's senses seemed to extend beyond her body. She could predict the movement of creatures, sense the flow of energy, and respond instantly to shifts in the environment. Her bonding season amplified her abilities, but it also demanded control and balance. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the forest floor. Ryan stumbled, and Lyra caught him instinctively. "Stay close," she said. Her voice carried both warning and reassurance. The disturbance is near. They entered a clearing where the energy surge was strongest. Crystalline formations jutted from the moss, glowing intensely. Small creatures with translucent bodies hovered in the air, vibrating in response to the energy. Ryan could feel the pull of the planet's life force tugging at him, testing his focus. Lyra knelt and placed her hands on the ground. Her glow brightened, and a soft hum resonated from her body. Ryan watched closely, observing her methods. He had learned much from her over the past days. Patience, observation, and respect for the planet were key to navigating its challenges. "Ryan," Lyra said softly, "we need to place the crystals along the energy streams to stabilize the flow. You must follow carefully and act precisely." Ryan nodded. He moved deliberately, placing each crystal where Lyra instructed. The forest seemed to react to their presence, the glowing plants and creatures adjusting as the crystals absorbed excess energy. Ryan felt a sense of harmony with the environment, a connection that had grown through his experiences with Lyra. As they finished placing the final crystal, the tremors slowed, and the air hummed gently. The creatures hovered calmly, and the forest seemed to settle. Ryan exhaled, feeling relief and accomplishment. Lyra stood, her glow softening. The energy is balanced. For now, the forest rests. She looked at Ryan, a faint smile on her face. "You observed, you adapted, and you acted with care. That is rare for a human. Ryan felt warmth in his chest. I've learned from you, Lyra. I couldn't have done this without your guidance. She nodded. Humans have unique qualities: curiosity, intelligence, and empathy. When combined with understanding and respect, these traits allow you to thrive even in worlds as alien as Xylaria. You are learning to harness them well. The sun began to set, painting the sky in deep reds and purples. Ryan and Lyra returned to the habitat module. Jonathan was waiting, monitoring the energy readings. Good work today, he said. The forest is stable, and the creatures show no signs of distress. It seems the northern and southern forests are in balance for now. Ryan smiled. It was a team effort. Lyra guided me through it, and I learned a lot. Jonathan nodded, impressed. You've adapted remarkably well to Xylaria. That's not easy for any human. That evening, Ryan and Lyra sat near the observation deck, watching the glowing forests and floating rivers. The air was calm yet alive with energy. Ryan reflected on the past days. He had seen Lyra's instincts at their peak, faced dangerous energy surges, and learned to act with intelligence and patience. Ryan, Lyra said softly, breaking the silence, bonding season is nearly complete. My instincts are strong, but I have maintained balance. Your presence, your understanding, and your patience have helped me through it. That is extraordinary. Ryan looked at her, feeling the weight of her words. I wanted to help, and I've learned so much from you. Being here, it's taught me more than I ever imagined. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly. That is the essence of survival and growth on Xylaria. Intelligence, empathy, and courage, qualities humans possess, allow you to adapt. You have proven that humans can not only survive but thrive even in alien worlds. Ryan felt pride and humility. He had come to Xylaria uncertain and cautious, but now he felt capable and connected to the planet, to Lyra, and to the lessons he had learned. As the night deepened, Ryan sensed a gentle vibration through the module. Lyra's glow dimmed slightly, her instincts settling into calm. She turned to him and smiled. The bonding season is complete. I am balanced, and I trust you more than most humans ever could. That is rare. Ryan felt a profound respect for her. He realized that being trapped with Lyra had been an extraordinary challenge, but also an incredible opportunity. He had learned to observe, to respect life, and to act with intelligence and patience. He had grown stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the world around him. You did well, Ryan, Lyra said. Your human qualities, curiosity, courage, and empathy, have complemented my instincts perfectly. Together we navigated challenges that neither of us could have faced alone. Ryan smiled. I've learned from you, Lyra, and I'll continue to learn. Xylaria, this world, it's incredible. Lyra's eyes softened. Yes, and it will continue to teach us. Xylaria is alive, vibrant, and unpredictable. Understanding it requires respect, patience, and intelligence. You have shown all three, and that is admirable. They spent the rest of the night observing the stars and the glowing forests. Ryan felt a deep connection, not only to Lyra but to the planet itself. He realized that humanity's strength lay not just in physical abilities, but in intelligence, empathy, and the courage to adapt and learn. As the first light of morning touched the floating rivers, Ryan and Lyra prepared for another day, knowing that challenges would continue. But they also knew they were ready, stronger, wiser, and connected. Ryan looked at Lyra and smiled. Thank you for trusting me. Lyra returned the smile. And thank you for respecting me. That trust allows us to face any challenge together. For the first time since arriving on Xylaria, Ryan felt fully at peace. He had survived the bonding season, learned from one of the most extraordinary beings he had ever met, and discovered the strength of human intelligence and empathy in a world far beyond Earth. Xylaria's forests glowed softly, and the floating rivers shimmered with light. Ryan and Lyra stood together, ready to face whatever the planet would present next. They were no longer merely survivors. They were partners in understanding, observers of life and explorers of an alien world. And as the sun rose fully, painting the sky with brilliant colors, Ryan realized something important. Human courage, intelligence, and empathy could thrive anywhere, even on the most alien, unpredictable worlds. Together, he and Lyra would continue to explore, to learn, and to grow, bound not by instinct or necessity, but by respect, understanding, and the incredible possibilities of life on Xylaria.